Hello and welcome. My name is Avalon Starlight. I am a lunar witch and an energy healer. And today I want to talk to you about eclipse season. Like, why is everybody making a big fuss about eclipse season, which we are currently in? And what is it tied to fate and destiny? How does that influence us? And how can you use the eclipse season to understand your own fate and destiny better and where to place your attention and focus on? I also want to share a little bit of a personal story about how eclipses have impacted me. And then I want to share about the Lunar Witch Society, which is beginning on the fall equinox. So buckle in because we're going to have a little fun journey here. And we're just going to talk things through. Like, I made a tea. You can pause this recording, go make a tea, because I really want to have a really important conversation about why this stuff matters, right? Because there is the beautiful saying, as above, so below. And so everything that's occurring above us, especially if you're sensitive or empathic, influences how we experience the world in this reality on this earth, right? And so, what is eclipses? So, eclipses work with two nodes of destiny, your north node and your south node. I made a chart for today. Okay. So, a north node kind of looks like this. It looks like a horseshoe sitting straight up. And then your south node looks like the opposing. It looks like a little dish ready to catch something. So this is your north and this is your south. So when we are in eclipses, the fate and destiny, the north node, sits in a different zodiac sign. It sits on a different axis for about year and a half, 2.5 years. Okay. So currently, if we were to look at the wheel here being Aries all the way to Pisces, we have the north node of destiny sitting in Pisces, and we have the south node of destiny sitting in Virgo. Okay, so that's where we are on an eclipse axis right now. This is what's being influenced by what is occurring in the sky at this time with this particular eclipse season. So why this is important is because when we are in the fate and destiny of eclipse, what is happening is that we are going to be steered back to or guided back to alignment based on where these nodes of destiny are currently sitting astrologically. So with the north node being in Pisces and the south node being in Virgo, what we're kind of looking at is the energy of the 12th house influencing the energy of the 6th house. So that means that Pisces, which represents illusions and it represents endings and completions and intuition, is being like accented in your life right now. Like, where can you see that you are not listening to your intuition, where you are giving your energy to illusions, that what needs to come to end, right? And that is in direct correlation to your south node of destiny, which is in Virgo, which is then where are illusions or where are you not listening to your intuition that has to do with structure, that has to do with the organization in your life, that has to do with the routines that you're currently doing, that has to do with, your health and your wellness. And so we just came out of the lunar eclipse in Pisces that was about seeing the illusion. That was about being like bold face, like in your face, like you would have been experiencing like a little light flashing in your life, all the ways in which you have been giving, your adolacy or your expectation to these false illusions in your life where you aren't listening to your intuition. Like you would have felt it in relationship to the structures and the organization and the routines and your health and wellness, right? So this could come up in business where you're looking at, oh gosh, the way that I've been doing my business, like it doesn't feel right. Something has to shift. Like I think I'm still trying to do a type of business that was governed to me by a coach 3 years ago. And I'm still trying to uphold this and it doesn't feel right. It's not in alignment to who I am, how I show up in the world, what my truth is. So the illusion of a business and how you do it to structure it for your community could come up. Another thing that could be coming up or came up during the full moon would be you'd be like, I really want to eat nutritious and I want to feel really good in my body. I feel like my body and I, we're just not on the same page right now. And so, all the ways in which you had created stories or illusions around what your own health and wellness journey would have looked like, the structures, the routines around it would have came up for you to look at, right? This could come up in boundary setting. Like if you are, letting other people take from you energetically, physically, emotionally, and, you're not standing up because the illusion that, family first, or you have to do everything for everybody, or there's conditions based on your love, or any of that type of stuff. Those illusions would come up, and you'd be forced to look at that for the health and wellness and organization and structure of your life. So those are just some examples that might have come up in this Pisces Virgo full moon. What needs to come to completion? What needs to come to an end in this access in order to support you as you move forward? Because here's the thing, we're about to hit the Virgo new moon next Sunday, and it's significant because literally this is a fresh start. Like this is a new beginning of an epic proportion that we haven't experienced astrologically in a really, really long time. So if you are willing to recognize that any of the structures and stabilities and securities and foundations that you have had in place that have not and will not work for you moving forward need an adjustment, which can feel really wildly uncomfortable, right? Like who wants to make these epic changes? Well, I invite you to really consider doing it right about this time at this eclipse portal, because a solar eclipse in Virgo says, let's go. This is the only solar eclipse of this eclipse season with this potency, with the light of the sun, with this like magic. This is, let's go. This is a beginning. This is like, and it is guided by fate and destiny because it's not meant to be controlled by us. Right? Like we are already getting the signs from the universe about what we should be initiating, what we need to be starting, what is shifting and changing beneath us in our soil of our lives, in our relationships, in our businesses, in the way that we structure, the way that we do our days and how we show up in the day of our work and our relationships and our love life and all those things, right? And so this new moon that's coming up is a significant one because it offers fresh starts and new beginnings of who you are becoming. So we're not manifesting during an eclipse because this is where fate and destiny is driving our like life forward, right? So you're experiencing things at quantum speed. That's why people are like, it's eclipse season, oh my God, because spirit gets involved and says, hey, if you're not in alignment in your day, your fate and destiny, depending on where your north and south node is, then I'm going to do something wickedly intense for you in order to bring you back onto path, right? And so they can feel like all of these things can happen. Like you might lose your job or have financial something happen, or you have to, and I'm going to share my journey during the last eclipse portal in my north and south node and how that influenced me, just to give you like, I like extremes. It's part of my chart. Like I don't do things subtly. Everything is like blatant and bold in my life. It's just part of what is my experience. So I'm cool with that. I have a shocking chart in human design. Shock is what I live by. Not that I like it, but shock is just part of what makes me me. So I'm going to show you a shocking version of how things influence your fate and destiny. And then you can kind of see your own. So how does the Pisces and Virgo fate and destiny influence you specifically, right? So we have the overview, where are illusions and you're not listening to your intuition, and where did things have to come to completion so that you can have a fresh start, new beginning in how you structure and organize your business, your life, your relationships, your health, your wellness. That's the overarching theme. Now it comes to personalizing this. How does this actually influence you directly? That's where knowing your own birth chart, and again, I'm not saying you have to understand it fully. I am an active participant in a lifelong journey of understanding my birth chart. We have a different relationship every time I look at it. But I learned a little bit about North and South nodes many, many years ago, like a decade ago. And I have lived in this understanding and research and teaching myself about my North node and South node. So my personal North node is in Libra, the 7th house, right? And my personal South node is in an Aries, the 1st house. So as eclipse seasons move, right, they just change. So our last eclipse clunk was on the Aries Libra. So the North node was in Aries and the South node was in Libra. And then it went, and now it's in Pisces and Virgo. It'll go, and it'll go to Aquarius and Leo, and it will move like clockwise around the astrological signs. This is something nobody told me that I wish somebody had. So I'm going to tell you, because it really was a really powerful, game-changing, life-learning, lesson-gaining experience for me. As somebody who has their North node in Libra and their South node in Aries, the last eclipse portal was with the North node in Aries and the South node in Libra. And so it was in opposition to my own personal North and South node, right? So where I have a South node in Aries, the North node was in Aries. Where I have a North node in Libra, the South node was in Libra. When your fate and destiny falls into the opposition of the eclipse, it's going to feel extreme. And I've done research on this with people in my life to see how it has influenced them. And I'll share a personal story about that as well. So over the last 2.5 years, we had been in an eclipse portal that represented who am I amongst the many, right? Libra represents community, collaboration, and partnerships. Aries is like individualization, like independence. It's bold, it's taking action. And so I'm here to learn with my North node how to be in community, how to be in partnership, how to be in a relationship and not do everything on my own. I'm really good at doing things on my own. Like I grew up in a family where I was segregated, pushed out. So I always felt like I was a loner, never feeling like I was fitting in. That's what's familiar to me, right? So I like to be alone. If given the choice, I would be alone all the time, like just with my books and my research and doing the thing, walking, spending time in nature. That's fun, right? But I'm here to learn how to be in relationship and collaboration and partnership, which is not easy for me. Our North nodes aren't meant to be easy. So during the last eclipse portal, when things were backwards for me and the North node was in Aries and the South node was in Libra, I got absolutely redirected in a big way because I had to learn to rely on others when I had become really connected to what my old familiar behaviors were. Okay. So during the last eclipse season, when I was in opposition to my own personal North node and South node, this was a time where my husband lost his job and I was forced to move in with his family. Now, I don't speak to my family of origin. I have a hard time trusting parental figures because I don't feel like I was seen, heard, or understood by my family. So now I'm being forced by the universe to move in with my in-laws and be in relationship and partnership and community as this little unit of people living in the same space. Right? Not only that, but they are very old-fashioned. They don't understand, the fact that I'm self-employed or an entrepreneur. And so I thought, okay, while we're here, my husband isn't working, I'll do 2 jobs. I'll do my self-employment, the work that I love to do, but I'll also get a job working in an environment where there's other people. I have been, since COVID, really super hermity. I'd moved across country. I had not been social and been around people for some time. And if you haven't been around people, you know the anxiety that goes with that. So again, during the last eclipse portal, in opposition to where my northern node, I ended up moving in with my in-laws, getting a 9 to 5 job, which I would never do. I was a personal trainer, getting a 6 a.m. to noon job so that I could be in community around people, being forced to work with coworkers that we don't always see eye to eye. And I had to face all of this relationship experience within my body and like feel all the discomfort of two different personalities coming, and really focus on shifting my perspective about what it was like being in relationship to a family that let me come in and loved me unconditionally and be open to receiving that love, and go to a job where I found the most amazing fitness manager, and my coworkers were amazing, and my clients were amazing, and open myself up to receive love from all of these different relationships. And it was so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable for me because I had gotten really, adapted to living in my south node and not living in my north node, right? And so when we get to a place, so like right now, the north node is in Pisces. If this is where your south node is and your north node is in Virgo, you're in an opposition of an eclipse, meaning it will feel more intense and more extreme for you. And that's why I think going to a place called The Pattern, that's the app that I personally use. If you want to just see where your north node and your south node is, it has like a wave. That's my version of a wave. It's not a good version of a wave. It's a wave that is the icon, and you can put your information in, and then if you want to see your birth charts, the very top there is settings, there's a bookmark, and in the middle it looks like a little sun with some planets going around it that represents you. You're going to click that, your birth chart's going to come up. You're going to see where you are astrologically and where you're being influenced by this particular eclipse. So now we know I have a north node in Libra and a south node in Aries in my 7th and 1st house, which is very ideal because that is the way that the zodiac houses go. I just happen to fall in the right sequence. Makes it easy to talk about. Once you have that information, understanding that illusion and structure is going to come up for me relating to how I create community right now. So in the form in which I am birthing or bringing forth new business into this world, what is the way in which I want to create the community, the structure, the form? How can I break down any illusions that I have of doing this by myself, of, you know what I mean, not holding space, or going back into old habits of, that I have to do this by myself, that I can't ask for help, that there's nobody to support me, that I have to be, an independent contractor doing everything alone. These are the types of themes that are going to come up for me, and using my intuition in order to create the perfect structure and form for me to be able to hold space at the highest level. Because one of my greatest gifts with the North Node in Libra is bringing people together to form really strong bonds in relationship. And so, this particular eclipse for me is a fresh start. It is a new beginning. It's about going back to remember the roots and the seeds that I had planted originally in my business way back in 2017. I had started to work with energy in 2015, but by 2017 I really had a plan, an idea of how I wanted it to come together. And so I was creating these communities, and people would be joining these communities, and the relationships that were formed in those places and spaces that I created were so significant. I know to this date how many people are still friends or in relationship to the people that they met in the communities that I was creating, right? And so when it came time to think about how I wanted to move forward into business, moving into 2026 or even the end of 2025, it was going back to these grassroots of really bringing people together so that they could understand themselves at a deep level so that they could create relationships. I truly believe, especially after going through the last eclipse in opposition, that we're better together, right? That we as a collective make more impact and do good work when more energies come together to bring it forth into creation. And so here I want to talk about Lunar Witch Society, because this is an amalgamation of everything that I have been through personally, that spirit has guided me to work on within myself and has guided me towards helping support others in, all kind of coming together into one potent, powerful, year-long container. And so the Lunar Witch Society, and it's interesting, and I just want to talk right now. And again, this is such a potent time for new beginnings. And so, you know, Lunar Witch Society was a big deal because it came through in meditation. It's been a while since Spirit was like, you need to do this, right? And I really took the time to nurture that and foster that and work through all the different energies of the moons and the cycles and how that was going to come to fruition, right? Because we can get an idea and we can run with it, or we can get an idea and we can kind of sit with it and really understand how it is integrated into our lives, but integrated into the lives and the community of people that we're bringing together. And so I took time to really sit with Lunar Witch. It came through at the beginning of May, and understand the dynamic that this program particularly was meant to create, that it was going to bring into form for people. And I do believe with this current eclipse portal breaking the illusion of structure and of belief systems as a collective as well as an individual, like what's happening in the world today, the way things are happening, we can't continue on doing things the way that we've always done in order to get to a different result. Like we've had massive astrological changes happening that are signifying new energy happening up in above, but also influencing it on a deeper level collectively and personally. And I'm not going to get into detail on this video, but it's significant because some of these planets are changing signs after hundreds of, like, over 100 years or 29 years. And so them all changing together simultaneously is rare. Super rare. Like if you have a planet that changes every 100 and something days, 164 years, 29 years, and they all decide in 1 year to be like, this is the year we're all going to change within a couple months of each other, you know that that's a portal, right? That's an influencing energy coming together to make a significant transformation and change on the planet. So we know now with the whole Pisces, like Pisces Virgo, that there has been a lot of illusion in our lives, and we're coming at a time where we can see things differently. And so with Lunar Witch Society, I thought about that. Like, what does that mean? How does that influence us on an individual level? Because my work is in helping people understand themselves so deeply that they're no longer influenced by outside forces. And those outside forces can come from, you know, what your family has told you you're meant to do, or who you are, and working through the trauma of your childhood and how that's influenced you, and helping you connect with the wisdom of what your purpose is here, and listen to your intuition so that the decisions that you're making are true to you and not from some other, like whether it's your family, whether it is your partner, whether it's your kids, whether it's your job, but like really being able to tune out the noise that surrounds you in order to come into the understanding and the truth and the wisdom of what is your truth and what is your vision and purpose, and why you incarnated in this human body at all in this lifetime, right? So with that, there is a guide or mentor that is really significant in supporting you, and I get to facilitate that guide and mentor. It is not me directly. And this is something that I've really had to sit with and understand, that I am here automatically to create change in people's lives. Like when people come into my world, things transform. It is just what my design is. It's just like what my vessel is here to create change within your life, significant change, right? And the pathway and the portal that is the most potent for me to do that through is through the moon, right? It's going back into ancient traditions of understanding that the moon and the moon cycle and the energy of the moon and the moon cycle and what's happening astrologically upstairs influences what's happening on the main floor on Earth. And so every new moon, we have a different energy of beginnings, a different way depending on where it sits in the zodiac that is initiating something new in our lives. And every full moon, we have an opportunity to let go or release, again, depending on where we're being influenced, what the moon is guiding us to look at, to like just let go with ease without trying to grip. And it's the perfect guide and mentor for understanding it, because it is literally happening at a collective level, and then we are personalizing it. And so Lunar Witch Society is understanding yourself through the moon cycles. It's like resyncing to this rhythm of understanding the moon is here. She's so potent and she's so powerful. She says you don't have to do this alone, right? Every moon cycle, I'm going to show you where to initiate and what to let go of, so that you're not trying to figure it out on your own and you're not trying to solve problems that don't need to be solved right now. It's so clear where we need to focus on. And then I get to be the facilitator to bring that transformation and that transition to you, right? And I think that that is just so clean and so energetically beautiful, because as sensitives and empaths, we already feel that energy. And so having it just be streamlined and organized in a way that your expansion, your truth, your connection just evolves so naturally through this syncing of the rhythm of the moon and her medicine. So that's one cycle that Lunar Witch embodies. Then comes the seasons. Now, I have worked with the seasons for a few years now, because there was just this part of me when I was younger, and it was like, oh my God, I hate winter. Like, I feel like it's the worst. And summer gets too hot, or there was always a complaint or a reason not to love the season. Since I've learned that the season also holds significant medicine for our own personal revolution and expansion, that each cycle matches a little bit like the moon, right? We are different in each season. There is like this beautiful opportunity to like understand who we are and our like capacity to nourish not just ourselves but our family and our communities and our clients through the seasons is the sweetest nectar that I've ever been involved with, because it changed my perception about every season, and not just every season, but who I was and how I showed up in every season, right? Like, this is why it starts on the fall equinox, because this is where we go into the womb, right? This is why Lunar Witch starts there. It's because we go into this womb space. This is the feminine. This is like where we drop into the darkness and we let go of any of the masculine driven like do energy. And that's not to say we're not doing anything, but we understand that we're releasing and that we're going in and listening to our intuition during the fallow season, so that when we seed in the spring and the sun comes back into play, into that driven more masculine energy with the sun, because the sun is masculine and the moon is feminine, then we have this like a pathway that we have intentionally and consciously been in relationship to bring into the light. Like, it is so nourishing, it's so sweet and so wonderful. And so I thought about this with Lunar Witch, and I thought about these two cycles, and then Spirit came through and says there's another piece to this puzzle, and there's one more piece to the Lunar Witch Society this year. And I said, oh my God, what is it? What is this other piece to this beautiful like relational reconnecting to this ancient mystery teachings of the earth and of the sky and our rhythm within this already like embodied conversation. And they were like, listen, there is not a lot of history written about women. We don't know a lot about where our own personal ancestry and lineage has come from. But if you look at everything in the birth of creation, we all came from the same source, right? And so at some point, our lineages has touched so many of the divine feminine goddesses that have really held so much energy on this earth. And so the third piece of this year of Lunar Witch Society is reconnecting to the divine feminine heritage and ancestry and lineage that is yours through really contemplating and sitting with each of a different goddess every single month, so that you can learn how she works through you, how she shows up for you. Do you connect with her? Is there some like recognition in the lineage for you? Because again, we are women who are here to embody the fullest expression of this force, this intuition, this understanding of our truth, of this vibrant energy that is the feminine, right? And over time we haven't had access to it because we've lived in a very masculine dominant world, and we were, minimized, and then, now women were fighting for the rights for women, and so we took on a lot of the aspects of the masculine, and now we're being, again, during this whole transformation, offered a different way to see things, given this chance to reconnect to the feminine as it means for us personally. Because I truly believe, and why I love Lunar Witch Society so much, is that it's individual. Like you're experiencing the moon through you and the seasons through you, and really understanding them in a personal level as well as the goddesses. It's not like this is the only way. This is your way. This is your way of experiencing the world around you energetically. And so this last piece for this year of Lunar Witch Society is through the goddess. So we do the moon cycles, and we travel this conversation, deepening our relationship to understanding what we're initiating and what we're releasing as we understand ourselves through the seasons, right? And really being intentional and conscious about that as we also connect with our lineage and the divine feminine as we wish to express it at this time. This really potent, powerful time in the world that we get to experience. And so this is the foundation, because for me, this work isn't instantaneous, right? Like the transformations, the ways in which we're going to expand into the truth of our own inner wisdom, deepening our relationship to these ancient traditions. It's not a month. It's not 2 months. It's like choosing to do it repeatedly, really contemplating yourself in context to all of these things and taking time to sit with it. That's the depth in which Lunar Witch goes, right? This is a true embodiment of who you are and understanding who you are in these natural rhythms. And so I think I talked a lot about Lunar Witch, probably more than I have in all of this time. And so it's something to think about, because there's 4 spots left. It's a very intimate. One of the things that's really important to me at this time in my evolution is this intimacy. It's like really being seen and witnessed and letting yourself be seen and witnessed. And I knew for this particular year that meant an intimate number. And when I sat with Spirit, they're like, it's a 9-fold sisterhood this year, right? So there's 5 of us, including myself, and 4 spots left, so that we can really, really be in it together. That, there's no hiding behind numbers. It's like, no, we see myself, I see you, like we are witnessing. There's a lot of witnessing coming on in this deepening. And so it starts on the fall equinox, because this is the time that we descend down into the feminine. So we start on a feminine cycle. And so if it's something that you're interested, I invite you to send me a message, look at the website, say yes if you're just like a full body, like, are you shitting me right now? That sounds amazing. I want to do that. Then, listen to your natural rhythm and your energy, if that feels so true to your soul as like a, oh my gosh, because I trust that. Like that's so special to me if you feel that calling. And then there's other things, like if you're like, that's not for me right now, I will be holding a solar eclipse moon ritual on the 21st, the day before. This is a free moon ritual. If you want to test and taste what it feels like to work with the moon through your body. I'll put the link here in the comments below, and you can kind of be like, what does she mean? Like, work with the moon? Come, feel, experience what that feels like. And then if that's yes, and there's a spot left in Lunar Witch and you want to join, come. We start the next day at the fall equinox. So you could be like experiencing both. You get the moon ritual anyway if you join Lunar Witch. And then on top of that, like, I really want to share my book, The Magical Business Method, with you for free as well. If that's something like you just want to get in and be in communication with me. I write like I'm talking to you right now. So it's like you're just hanging out with and having tea with me. Anyway, I haven't even had a sip of tea. I just got so excited. And so you will get this book, The Magical Business Method, in PDF form directly to your inbox. It's powerful, and it's medicine in itself. It's its own initiation. And so if you want to start there, I'm giving you options. Right? You can take the book, you can come to a moon ritual, or you can say yes to Lunar Witch Society, because the whole point here is that you already know what you're here to experience in this world. And the eclipse is a time where we're being redirected to our own personal fate and destiny. And this is where we take the kind of hands off the wheel and we let spirit guide us. And that could be that just this video falls into your lap at the right time. I look at eclipse portals also as me putting things into the universe. Like, I was like, if I'm meant to move, I will put that out into the universe, and it will be so easy because, and this is, I'm moving next month because there's a house that I wanted for years, and I was like, I'm just going to call and see if it's available. And there's only like 6 of them in the city that are these particular, and it just happened to be coming available. I just happened to see it. We got approved so fast that the leasing agent was like, I've never seen a turnaround this quickly. That's the level in which ease at the eclipse. If you want something in your life and you place it into the, the cauldron, so that eclipse can be like, if it's meant for you, I will let you know. If it's not, girl, you need to let that go. Right, kind of thing. So it's a really powerful time. I really hope that our communication and our relationship grows from here. I want to do more long form YouTubes. One of the things that's releasing at this eclipse portal was the under this moon and these energy forecasts and things like that, because they're limiting to me. Like, the work that I'm here to do is so much bigger than that. Like, it really is consciousness, it's chakras, it's the moon, it's this depth of realization within you. It's like coming into the heart of who you are, and anything that isn't in alignment with anything that is the truth of your essence, your vibration, what you chose here to do. That's what I want to be talking about, and how that has shown up in my life. And so I really want to like clean slate my YouTube and share it from a more personal level. So that's what this video is about. And again, if you're here right now at the end of this video, thank you for watching me speak about all these things. And if you have questions, I want to know them. I want to hear how everything is influencing you. I want this to be a community. Not just me talking, but us sharing our lives and our growth together. So let me know. Enjoy the book, come to the moon, or join Lunar Witch. There's many choices. And I look forward to knowing which one you take. All right, enjoy.